Artlist is an all-in-one creative platform that combines AI tools, licensed stock assets, and a full production studio. In this walkthrough, I'll guide you step by step so you can see exactly how it works. We'll start with account setup, so you're ready to log in and access the workspace. From there, I'll show you the AI toolkit, where you can generate images, videos, voiceovers, and even music with powerful AI features.
Hi, I am Kyle, your tutorial creator for today.
You're just a fuzzball scratching at the door. One yacht for the master, two for the fun. From the kennel to the rafters, we're taking the crown. The crazy.
Next, we'll explore the stock catalog, which gives you access to music, sound effects, footage, templates, and plugins, all licensed for professional use. Then, we'll dive into Artlist Studio, where you can frame shots, direct scenes, and compile your projects into complete videos. And finally, we'll break down the pricing plans, so you'll know exactly which plan fits your needs, whether you're a solo creator, a growing team, or a full business operation. Alright, so now first is that you want to go here into the website of Artlist. You can go into the description of this video and then you could use the link there so that you can go here easily, and also you'll get some benefits such as discounts and other things. Also look out for some coupon codes in there because you'd be able to use that if available on the checkout page so that you'd be able to get even bigger discount. And now, once you're here in the website of Artlist, you can now start setting up your account by clicking here on Start Free Now on the top right. And in here, you can go for your Google account, which is an easier and simpler process, but you could also go for the manual way instead. You could go for your name, email, and then password. After that, you can click on Start Free Now. Alright, once you're done with that, you have now successfully set up your account. And in here, you can now use Artlist starting right now. But you only have the free plan because Artlist does offer a free plan for everyone that would create an account, but it's a very limited plan. So you can only use a select few features here in Artlist. So if you'd want to use more, then you'd have to go for a paid plan. And we'll be discussing the subscription plans later on this video. First, I'm going to discuss on what you can do here in Artlist, the features, and everything that you need to know even as a complete beginner so you can start using this effectively and you'd have an idea if you actually need Artlist before jumping into the subscription. So now first feature that we'll be talking about will be the AI Toolkit. So once you're here in the homepage, you should see this. So you want to click on AI Toolkit, or you could also go here on the top menu. So once you're here in the AI Toolkit, it should look like this. So there will be a bunch of examples in here that you could look from. And then basically you can take inspiration from this. And for example, I would want to take inspiration from this video right here. Actually, this one is pretty cool. So what you can do is that you can click on the recreate button or just simply click on the content itself. And then you'd now be able to preview it right here. And then you would have this prompt that was used in creating this video. So you could also use that, and basically that's just like clicking here on the recreate button here. So you can click on that right here. And then you'd be able to see that we will now be able to use that as our image reference and also use the same prompt in here. So now what you want to do is that you don't want to just click here on generate and that's it. You would want to edit the prompt in here because this is the exact one that was used here. So you want to edit some details in here and basically so that it would be unique and not exactly like this. What I like to do is I just remove the image reference right here so that it doesn't really go for this exact style. I already extracted the prompt from this, so I think that would be enough. So then I'm going to click here on plus. And let's say I would want to change the face into my character. So what I want to do is to go for image reference. And now I'm going to click on upload image and upload the image of my character. So for example, I would want to use a male character. So I'm going to go for this one right here. So here, so before you upload, there will be a notice in here that you have rights or permission to do this right here. So make sure that you do have that. And transparent are not allowed, so I would have to go for this one right here. And now, in here is that there is no text in here that says to use the image reference in here for my character, so I would have to add that. What I want to do is I want to go here at the bottom, and I'm gonna say use the image reference for the character right here. And then you could also use mention right here. So I'm gonna go for image reference at, and then you want to mention img1 right there. So there it is. It is now mentioned just like this one, so that the AI knows that you are pertaining into this image reference that you have uploaded in here. So you want to make sure that you do it like this. And this one should be for the character face. And then you could change some details. So let's see. I would want to go for I think everything looks perfect in here, so I'm just gonna leave it as it is for now. And now I'm gonna click here on this options. So we have this one. So we have Sea Dance, we have Happy Horse, and basically we have a lot of AI models to choose from, but this one is the same one that was used in creating this, so I would want to use this so that I could achieve a similar result. And in here you could go for the resolution. You can go for 480p, 720, 1080, aspect ratio that you want, duration, and many more. So for me, I'm gonna stick to this one, and duration should just be 4 seconds. I think that will be enough. And then you can turn on the audio, and that's it. Once you're satisfied with all of your settings, you can now proceed into clicking here in generate. And note, you can see that we have the credit icon right here when we hover our cursor on the generate button. So you want to take note of that also and take it into careful consideration, because Artlist is a credit-based platform. So if you run out of credits, you didn't budget it accordingly, and then you wouldn't be able to use any more features here in Artlist anymore, because everything here in creating content, generating them, requires credit. So please make sure that you consider your credit spending wisely. So now I'm gonna click here on generate. So that would cost me 1,200 credits, and let's wait for that to be generated. And our next thing is that we have this pane on the left side, as you can see right here. So you could hover your cursor here, and then this would expand. So now if you would want to start a new session, is that you can click here on new session buttons. So now with this, you will now be able to see a blank workspace, just like this one right here. But we haven't removed this yet. But don't worry, it's very simple. All you have to do is expand this, press Ctrl+A as to select all of that, erase, and then just erase that, and there it is. You now have a blank slate right here, so you can start working from scratch. Now, if you'd want to go back into one of your works here in Artlist, you can easily do that by clicking on the work that you would want to go back. For example, I want to go back into this work. I'm going to click on that, and then you'd be able to see that I will now be able to load up that video right here. And now in here, you could also go click here on the 3 dots on that video, so you can see more options. Now, you could also upscale this at this credit cost. So for this example, that would be 1,000 credits. So if you think that you need more definition out of this quality in here, if you think this is too blurry for you or something like that, you would want to upgrade the resolution. So you can see that right here, it's only 720p. And yeah, if you'd want to upgrade that, then you can just upscale it right here by clicking on the upscale button here at the bottom. And if you'd want to recreate this again, you can click on recreate. You could also download it right here. You can add this to favorites, and you could also add button and even delete this right here. So that's basically it. So now let's go back in here into a new session. So we'll be creating again from scratch. So for this one, we'll be starting with image. So we'll be going one by one in here in image, video, voiceover, and music. So these are the things that you'd be able to create here using the AI toolkit. So now let's begin with image. So now the first thing that you'd want to do is to choose between standard mode or AI agent. So how would you like to proceed in creating your content? So standard mode would basically be like this one. So you'd have to set the settings here manually, while the AI agent mode would be more of a conversationalist method. So this is especially useful for beginners. If you're a beginner, I suggest going for AI agent, because in here you don't have to worry about the complex settings, and basically just talk to the AI on what you would want to see in the result. So just talk about your thoughts and so on, and then the AI would be able to modify the settings for you according to what you are saying here. So I'll be demonstrating each one. First is that we'll be going for standard mode. So in here is that we have the image reference in here. So if you have a reference in mind that you would want the AI to take inspiration from, or to take the details from in creating your image, you want to put it in here. You could also just do that later on once you've constructed your prompt. So in here is that I'm going to go for my prompt first. So I'm going to say create a full portrait of a girl, or of a vampire girl with freckles, and I'm gonna say the girl has red crimson wings with blood, or with blood falling out, something like that. And then you could add more specific details, like maybe the camera angles. I'm gonna go for wide angle shot. The location or the place, actually I'm just gonna, the location is an abandoned garden. Just like that. So you want to input as much detail as possible. And then what you could also do is to click here in auto prompt. So what you would be able to accomplish here when you click on that is basically AI would be enhancing your prompt. So as you can see right here, it has now enhanced my prompt from what I created. So basically with the help of AI, you'd be able to structure it more accurately, and it would be easier for the AI to understand with this. So you could also click here if you'd want that. However, if you think that you don't really like the result in here, you can always click here and undo, and then you'd have your prompt that you have created manually back. So I actually want the auto prompt one, so I'm going to click here and then let it do the prompt, or reconstruct my prompt from the details and the thought that I have given. And now in here, we can proceed into the settings. So here, you want to make sure that you select image, because we're currently in the image part. We'll be discussing others later on. And here, another important detail or setting that you must set would be the AI model. So here, you can click on show all. And then you would have a lot of AI model to choose from in here. So we have our most popular one, which is Nano Banana 2. Basically Nano Banana models. We have Seedream, Kling, and many more right here. So you could also see that we have some cost right here. So you have the credit. So from 60 credits, this one is from 160, from 100 credits, and so on. So now, if you're trying to budget your credits, or if you're running low and you're trying to save credits, then you would want something that is low cost in here. So let's find something that is low cost. So I think it would be this one, Z Image Turbo. So that would be only from $10. So you could go for that one right here. And then, yeah, basically that's how you'd be able to decide on what AI model to choose if you're going to save credits. But for now, I am going for quality. So I'm going to go for Nano Banana Pro. I think this one has the best image output in terms of realism, and basically it's very versatile. It's not just for realism, but basically for a general type of picture. So yeah, I'm just gonna go for Nano Banana Pro. And in here, you can now select your aspect ratio, your quality, number of images in here. So for this one, the quality, I'm gonna go for just 1K would be enough for me. And the number of images, you could also select that right here. And then this would highly affect on how much credits you're gonna consume, because if you go for 2, then the cost would be ×2 and so on. So for this one right here, I would want this to be 9:16, so that will be portrait. And that's it. Now, if you are curious about the other AI models in here, you can try and research them right here. But basically, the best, if you're gonna go for quality, I suggest Nano Banana, Seedream, and Kling. These are the big 3 in here. And now, once you're done, you can click on Use Model. And you could also modify the settings in here, but we have already did that in selecting the model. Now you can hover your cursor here and generate, and then you can now look on how much credit this would consume. And don't forget, you could also hover your cursor here so that you know how much credits you have left in tank, or how much left you have for you to generate content here in Artlist, and budget accordingly. And now once you're done with everything, you can now proceed by clicking here on generate. And now here's our results. So now let's preview it. So I'm going to click here, and then we will now be able to see that we now have our vampire girl right here with the crimson red wings with blood dropping out right here. So this is basically the result, and I'm really liking it. I think it really looks good. And we have our abandoned garden place here. It really looks like an abandoned garden, so I'm satisfied with it. And that's it. Now you can convert this into a video, by the way, if you'd want to animate this. You can click here on video, which we will be talking about later on when we go into the video feature. So now let's go back and let me show you on how you could use the AI agent method. So it's really simple, much simpler than we did earlier. So what I'm gonna do here is that, again, you can add a reference image right here if you'd want to. So for this example, I'm gonna add some reference image. I'm gonna click here on upload file, and I'm gonna use a character right here. So basically, I'd want to use this AI character that I did. So here is it's a video, so I'm gonna go and select another one right here. So this one right here is an image file. So here it is. And now next thing that you'd want to do is to just chat with the AI in here on what you would want to happen, as you would with a human. Let's say you would hire a professional human to create this for you. So you want to include all the instructions in here on how you'd want this to be created. So it's basically just like that here in AI agent. So now I'm gonna say create me a landscape photo of this girl that is sitting on a branch of a tree right there, and then the sky is colored pink and violet. The clothes or the dress that the girl is wearing is color white, is pure white, something like this one. So just include all the details that you'd want. So very similar to what we did with the standard mode when we haven't improved or let the AI restructure the prompt. The girl is the reference image. So something like this. So I think this is enough details for me so far. So I'm gonna click here on send now. So in here is basically there would be some notice. So basically, the Artlist is just saying that when you send your message here using the AI agent mode, is that sometimes it would automatically proceed into generating the content once you have sent your message based on the details that you have provided. So as you can see right here. And then if you don't mention a specific model, the AI agent will choose the best one for your prompt and deduct credits accordingly. So in here, with this method, you would have less control over your credit spending because you would be the one that would let AI decide on what to use. So you are not deciding, so you will not be able to control your credit spending more. So in here, by enabling or continuing the use of AI agent, you agree to the above and consent to the generation of content. So I'm going to click here on accept. And now it's currently creating our image in here and it's almost done. So you just basically have to wait in here. And now here is the result. So as you can see, we can now see the image here. We can expand that. And for reference, this is the AI model that I have chosen as a reference. So I have also generated this from another platform, and you can see on how close or how similar the faces are, and it's really accurate in copying the face of the reference image that we have provided here. And yeah, that is really looking great. And now in here, you can now download if you'd want to use it. And then you have the settings in here. You can see that it has used the Nano Banana 2 as the model. And the aspect ratio, the quality, the file type, and the date created in here. So you have those details. And then you could also see on how much credits was spent on generating this image. You can see that it's 130. Now, if you're not satisfied, you can always click here on a recreate to start over again. And here we can see some comments here. So the contrast between the white dress and that violet sky creates a solid foundation, but we can push the atmosphere further to make it feel more intentional. Let's refine the lighting and framing to give the scene more narrative weight. And it is suggesting this edits right here or changes into the image. So the AI would actually add these comments in here to improve your results in here. So that is why I am saying that this is the best method for you. If you are a beginner, you can go here so that you would have the suggestions and then you don't have to bother too much about learning the complex settings here in Artlist. And yeah, you could just create one right here just by instructing the AI on what to create. So now let's try in the soft golden hour right here. I think I'm interested in this. You can click on that and then it would now automatically send a message regarding that request in here. So you don't have to even type it out yourself. So you can just click on that suggestion and then it will now send a message and it will now process your request in here. And it's really that easy here in AI agent mode. All right, so now here's the result with the golden hour. Though for this one right here, I think I like this one much better compared to this one, but still it's a great suggestion here from AI. And then you could also see that it cost me 130 credits for this generation. And that's basically how you would be able to use the AI agent mode in generating your image here. And basically that would also be applicable to the other content that you make in video, voiceover, and music. You could also choose between these two methods in here on how you would want to proceed. Now we'll be proceeding into the video. So now let's click here on create new session. For now, we'll be deleting all of this and then we'll be choosing video. So in here is that we will now be able to see that we have this one again. So this is the previous one that we have created with the reference. So I'm just going to clear that out. And in here is that we would now be able to see that we could also select the standard mode or AI agent in creating our video. So for this one right here, if you're going to use AI agent, just keep this in mind that you would want to include on how long is the video. So you want to include that in your message in here or on your chat. because this would greatly affect on how much credits it's going to cost. And if you let AI decide that, it might consume a lot of your credits without your permission or without you knowing. So it is very important that you indicate how long the video is going to be right here if you're going to use AI agent. You could also go for the model, for the AI model to be used here in your generation. So you just want to be careful about this stuff in here so that you don't waste unnecessary credits in here if you don't get this right. So that's basically it. So for this example, I'm just gonna stick into standard mode. And in here is that we can now go for video again. And here it is. So for this one, I'm going to use an image reference. In creating my videos, I'm going to create one from scratch. So for this example, I'm just going to use this as my reference in here. So basically the product poster that I have created. And now is that for reference, this is how it looks like right here. So now basically the idea here is that I'm gonna animate this and I'm gonna make the water move here, animate that like it's creating a splash and so on. So now what I'm gonna say is that I'm gonna go for make the water splash, or actually I'm gonna go animate the water to make a splash effect or animation on the background, and then make the product in the center, or animate, actually animate would be a better word, animate the product in the center to be floating right here. So basically just like that. And then the next thing is that I'm gonna go for add some glow to the text. So that's basically it. Just a simple prompt in here, and I think it would be able to achieve or follow through the prompt. So that's it. And then actually I'm gonna add this one right here. So make it a looped video right here. So now I made it a looped video right here. I indicated this. So you could also click here. If you're making a loop video, you could also make sure that the start frame and end frame is the same. So you could just set the setting in here. There is also a setting to make it the start and end frame right here. So you would have to remove the image reference. So instead of the image reference in here is that we can go into the start and end frame right here. So remove that start and end frame. Start frame should be the same as the end frame so that it will be a loop. So that's it. So I changed my mind. I'm gonna go and make this a loop instead. Open that, and there it is. We now have the start and end frame. If you want, you could also go for the other elements or references that you would want to be made here in your prompt. So we don't just have the image reference and the start and end frame. We also have video reference and audio file. And now, once you're done with this, you can now proceed here. So choose the AI model. Now I'm going to click here on show all. And then we would now be able to see the different models in here. So I'm just going for cheap ones right here. So let's see what would the cheapest be. I think I'm just going to go for around 200 credit spending in here. So let's see. And I think I'm going to go for Kling 3.0. I think that's very cheap, 240 credits. And in here, we can now change the aspect ratio. And I'm going to go for a portrait one, because our start frame was a portrait. And then you could go for audio, enable that, and then I'm gonna go for just 3 seconds in here, just a quick look. And then the resolution, I'm gonna go for 1080p, and then the cost to generate would be right here. So that would actually be 450, so that would be fine with me. So you want to make sure that you also pay attention here. Click on use model and you hover your cursor here, double check it's 450. So now if that's fine with you, you can now click on generate. Alright, the results are now ready. So basically this is the first one that we did earlier. So here's the result. So for this one right here, I don't really like it. As you can see, we have added the prompt or instruction right here that to animate the water to make a splash effect in here, but we don't see that. We only have the glow here on the text. So this is basically the difference. If you go and enhance the prompt, so if this one right here is not enhanced, however, this one is enhanced using the same thought that I did. All I did was click here on auto prompt, and now here's the result. It is now so much better. As you can see, it is now following the prompt that I made just because of auto enhance. So that's how powerful the auto prompt or auto enhance here when you are using this standard mode here in creating your content in Artlist. So make sure that you do not forget this. So now let's go back here into this video. And then from here, you can also see the details in here. So the model that was used was Kling 3.0. So basically it's still the same. And yeah, basically the lesson here, the auto prompt really makes a difference in here when you're doing the standard mode. So make sure that you use this here, especially if you're not too confident with the structure of your prompt, because how you put your prompt or how you structure it is very important and it's gonna affect the result greatly. So now next, let's create a new session. And this time I'm gonna go for the voiceover right here. So let's go for voiceover. Here it is. And then you would now have some examples in here. So let's actually listen to a few. For example, this one right here. I'm gonna click
There's a
on that.
second when everything you've carried finally lets go. The world slows. Your heartbeat doesn't. All the miles, the mornings, the mess. It's that moment. The one that
So that's basically it. Like the voiceover there, we could create that right here. So now in here, so you want to enter your text in English to create a voiceover. So you can go for standard mode for this one or AI agent. So for this example, I'm just going to go for the standard mode in here. So let me just refresh that and voiceover. Here it is. Now, you can add another reference in here, but this time, since we're in voiceover, you can add a reference speech. So you can upload a voice recording or you can create your custom voice. So here in creating your custom voice is basically you'd have to set this up. So you can turn any voice recording into a professional AI voice form, just 10 seconds of audio. So basically just like characters that we use in photos or videos. If you are familiar with that, you could also do that here in voices. So that's called custom voice. So in here, you can now upload a voice recording in here. It should be MP3, a WAV file, M4A, so up to 20 megabytes. So for this example, I'm just gonna choose a voice from the 11 voice choices. But if you'd want a custom voice, you can definitely do that in here. You just need to upload and that's it. You'd now be able to create a custom voice, which you can use here in your voiceover. So for this one, I'm just going to choose a voice right here in 11 Labs. So from here is that I'm going to go for the text first. So for example, I'm going to go for, hi, I am Kyle, your tutorial creator for today. So very short text right there. And then here you could see that we can now select the model. We can go for 11 Labs version 3, multilingual version 2, Minimax, and some other choices in here. So we only have 4 of them. So we also have Tesla Sonic 2. And yeah, that's basically it. So I'm going to go for version 3 right here, which is the latest model. And then you can now choose the language and other settings in here. I'm going to go for English stability. So basically, if you're not familiar with stability, it's how expressive the voice sounds. So the lower the stability, the more expressive it is, like not so monotonous. And then when you go into higher values, then the more monotonous it is or stable, like it's just one tone. And then we have the effect. So in here, we have the vintage radio, robotic assistants, and phone call, many more right here that you can choose from. For me, I want no effect. And then I'm going to click here on use model. So now next, we're going to proceed to the next one, which is this. So I'm going to click here. Now, it's going to open up this voice catalog pane. And from here, you can see the categories here. So you have the category, the gender, and the age. So you can use these filters so that you'd be able to narrow down on the voices that would match this filter, so that you'd be able to see the results that you would probably like. And then you have the language, and then also the model in here. So for this one, I'm just gonna stick to V3. And then in here, you'd now have the voices to choose from. And note that we also have these categories in here. You want to take note of that. This is also very helpful. You can call this genre. You have the gender in here, and so on. So now is that you could click on the play button here, so that you'd be able to preview the voice and how it sounds. For example, here on Bright.
Tell your story exactly how you imagine it.
And then you can do the same as you scroll down and browse the voices in here. So let's see. I'm interested in this one right here. This is for tutorial. So basically just like what I'm doing right now. So let's hear it.
Tell your story exactly how you imagine it, with a voice that brings your ideas.
This is female. Let's find another one that is for male. This one is explainer. So now let's preview.
Tell your story exactly how you imagine it.
That's a soothing voice, what I really like. So I'm going to click here on select. And now that it's selected, you can see that right here. And now there are also these settings in here. So you can click on that, and then you can change the language, the accent, and the stability, and the effect in here if you'd want to make it sound like a phone call, robotic assistant, and many more. Now, the crucial thing here is the accent. So as you can see, these are grayed out. That means that this is not available for the current voice that we have selected. So if we go for British, then it will now change the voice that we have selected. So for example, this one right here, let's switch to British accent. As you can see, it is now different here with the voice and also the AI model, because it is not available for that. So make sure that you modify this accordingly. So I'm just going to go and switch it back into the 11 Labs version 3 in here and choose the Horizon voice again. That's it. So you don't want to make any changes in here unless it's for stability or effect. Then in that way, you could just modify this. Except for accent though, you have to be very careful with that. And as for this one, we can see that this would cost 9 credits. So now I'm just going to go and expand this a little bit more. And I'm going to say, I hope this video was very helpful for you. Check the links in the description for a discount right there. And now I'm going to click on generate and let's see if it sounds good. Alright, so now here's the result. Let's play it.
Hi, I am Kyle, your tutorial creator for today. I hope this video was very helpful for you. Check the links in the description for a discount.
So that's the result, and I think it's good. And in here, you could also download this voice by clicking here. You could also expand this, and then you'd be able to see the transcript and the details here. You could also click here on 3 dots if you'd want to add this to your artboard, or you could also delete this if needed. You could also reuse this or recreate this prompt and settings that you have used in this generation. So that's basically the voice over here in the AI Toolkit. Alright, so now next is that let's go for music. So make sure that we are here in a new session and we have selected music here. And now you can go for standard or AI agent right here, depending on how you'd want it. I'd want to go for standard mode for this one. And in here, notice that we have image reference as an option right here. So why do we have image reference as an option when we're creating music? Well, the answer is simple. Because when you're generating music here, the AI is actually multimodal. It means that it reads the mood of your image and translates it into sound. So a bright, colorful photo might inspire upbeat music, while a darker image could lead to something more dramatic. So if you already have, let's say, an album cover, then you could also upload it right here so that you could incorporate the vibe of that album cover into the vibe to your song. So basically like that. So if you'd want to add a reference, you can click here on upload image and then just simply upload it right here. But for me, I will not use this one right here. I'll just simply describe the song. So basically the song would be a song about a cat and dog fighting over a fish in the kitchen. And then you can add more details if you'd want to, but I would want to go for something broad for this one right here. So just that. And then you also would want to add more specific details. Like for example, the vocal voice should be sung by a female. Or you could also go for more details such as let's see, the beat should be trap right there, or the genre would actually also be would also work. And then in here, don't forget, you could also enhance your prompt in here if you'd want to. So I'm just gonna enhance that just like so. And then you can now go here into the AI model. So the AI model here for music will only be two. You have Lyria 3 Pro and Lyria 3. So for this example, I'm just going to go with Lyria 3 Pro. And take note that the credit spending here would be massive. Lyria 3 Pro would be twice the cost of Lyria 3. But still, that's the latest version. So you could expect higher quality. And in here, you could go for the duration. So you could set that right here. I'm just going to go for 1 minute. And then the vocals, you could go for custom lyrics. If you'd want to type out your own lyrics, or if you already have made one, then you can just paste it if you want. Actually, for duration, I'm just going to go for auto. And the mix right here, I'm going to go for Artlist sound. The genre, you can select that right here if you'd want to. And I'm gonna go for a rock, for example, here. And the mood here, you could go and select that if you'd want. So for this one right here, I'm gonna go for epic. And then the theme, you could select that. So I'm just gonna leave this at auto. And then the tempo here, I'm gonna go for medium fast. And there it is. So those are my settings. And now I'm gonna click on use model. And next is that we have this one right here. So again, if you'd want to add your own lyrics, you can click here on custom lyrics, and then you can type it in here so that this will be the lyrics that will be used by the AI in creating your music. So I'm just going to go for auto for this one. And then here you can add more or modify more settings in here. So basically just like what we did earlier when choosing the model. So I'm satisfied with this, and now I'm just going to click here on generate, and let's see what it got for us. So we just have to wait now until it finishes generating our music. All right, so now here it is. Let's listen.
Queen of the floor, you're just a fuzzball scratching at the door that's living inside of you. From the kennel to the rafters, we're taking the crown. Perfect game begin right. Target playing with yourself. Fishbowl in the crown. The craziest rivals in this. Let the perfect.
Alright, so that's basically it. I think the song overall was very catchy. I'm really engaged with the song. I really like the beat and so on. So yeah, overall this is really great, and it also has followed all the details. So a trap song played by a female voice, as you could hear. and then a cat and a dog story fighting over a fish in the kitchen, and so on. So that's basically it, and it's 2 minutes long actually. So that's the song right here, and that's how you can create your music. You can click here and you could also add it into your ad board, or you could download it from here. You could also go and expand this if you would want to see the lyrics. You could see that right here and its details. You could also remix this if you'd want to basically recreate basically the same thing with remix here. So yeah, that's how you would be able to create music here using AI Toolkit. Alright, so now we're done with AI Toolkit. I have now discussed everything that you could do in here. Now let's go into stock catalog. So in here is where we'd be able to see the stock media content here available on Artlist. So you can see royalty-free music that you could use if you have the subscription here. Then you could also freely use this. So you could just explore in here, browse, and see what you would want to use for your content. So you can click here on the play button so that you could preview the music or the sound here. So this is a cinematic background music in here, as you can see here with the genre. And then if you'd want to download it, you can click here on the download button. As you can see right here on the right side, you could also go for similar songs in here, and then you'd be able to see the similar songs right here that has the same vibe as this one. And then we also have the add to favorites. If you'd want to add this to favorites, for example, just like that, I have now added that, and it will now be a yellow star. You could also go and add this to your artboard. So we'll be discussing more of that artboard later on. And then we have the share song. You could also share this to the social media platforms. Now you could also use these filters in here if you have some details that you would want to be included in the music, like the genre, mood, video theme, or instrument. You can select that right here. For example, I would want a country music, so I'm going to go select country, and then you could also choose the mood, so it will get updated as you select your filters in here. I'm going to go for love, and then the video theme right here, I'm just going to leave it as it is, and also the instrument. So these are the things right here that fits our filter, and then we can now preview them and basically just pick which one you would want. And then you can also see the lyrics of that. By the way, you can click here on lyrics, and then you'd be able to see that right here. As long as they have this microphone icon, that would mean that lyrics is available for preview. And they also have song versions in here. They have the instrumental version, the strip version. So you could see that when you have this drop down arrow icon, so that would mean it is available in here, so you can expand that. And you also have the stems in here on where you would be able to download each one, or you could download all of them if you'd want to right here. So that's the royalty-free music here in the stock catalog. Now let's go into sound effects. So basically in here, very similar to royalty-free music because they are both sounds. And in here you could also use the filters here at the top, and then you could preview that by clicking here on the play icon. So this is Epic Orchestral Royal String Logo. So you can see that right here. You can download it and many more. So yeah, that's basically the sound effects here. You can just basically find the sound effects that you want by using the filter in here. And that's basically it. And now let's proceed into the footage. So this is the video type content that is stock here in Artlist. So you can see that in here you could have the filter here once again. You could also not include AI content or include it by toggling this. And then you could also sort by staff picks, top downloads, newest, and many more. So yeah, so if you would want to find a specific clip right here or specific stock footage, then you want to make sure that you use the filter here at the top so that you could narrow down your results to the footage that you actually need. And that's basically the gist here on how you'd be able to navigate through the stock catalog in here, including here in the footage. Just make sure to use the filter in here if you have something specific in mind. Next, we have the video templates. So in here, we would be able to see some templates here that you could use on Premiere Pro, After Effects, Final Cut Pro. So you could see that by their legends here on the top right of each template in here. And again, you have the filters in here if you ever want something specific or narrow down your results. So you can see that right here. So big, bold, glow titles, unique typography, and many more right here that you could download. So Artlist is not just about creating content, it could also help you edit them with professional tools such as Premiere Pro, After Effects, Final Cut, and many more other right here. So this one also includes DaVinci Resolve, as you can see here. So you could also see here on the software, so they have 4 available: Final Cut, Adobe After Effects, Premiere Pro, and DaVinci Resolve. So that's the video templates in here. You could just feel free to browse and explore on maybe there's something here that would interest you. Next is that we have the LUTs. So this is also used for our professional grade editing tools. So here we have different LUTs right here that we could use for color grading. So you could also explore this right here if you're into that stuff. So you can click here on the download button and use the filter here on the top left once again so that you can narrow down your results. And basically this is where you'd be able to see everything. And we have the tools. So here we have the Artlist library extension for Premiere Pro. So they also have these extensions that you could use on this tool. So they have AI Assistant, so you could edit better and faster, so that you can automatically remove unwanted silences from your timeline, highlight key moments, and professional plugins that would be available here for Premiere Pro, After Effects, Final Cut, and DaVinci Resolve. So this is only available on the max plan though, so you'd have to upgrade to that paid plan if you'd want to use this right here. They also have the Spotlight. So here is where you'd be able to see the top collections here on Artlist and the background beats. You could click here and then you could basically play the collection here. So you could see that right here. So these are the top tracks for background music, and so much more right here. So that's basically it. And we also have the downloads section. So this is where you'd be able to see everything that you have downloaded here in the stock catalog. It should come up right here. So we have SFX or sound effects, footage, templates, LUTs, and many more. You also have your favorites in here. You could also see that right here. So that's basically the stock catalog here in Artlist. Alright, so now next thing that we'll be discussing would be the artboards. So you can go here in their stock catalog and then go into artboards, and here you can create a new one. So once you click on create artboard, if you don't know what this is yet, so basically this is where you would be able to create a digital mood board where you can collect, organize, and share all creative assets for a project like music, sound effects, footage, or AI generated visuals, and many more, with AI suggestions tailored to your product description. It's designed to streamline your pre-production and collaboration. So here you want to describe what you are working on or what project you're trying to get tailored content suggestions. So for me, I'll just use this one right here. So I'm going to go for a YouTube travel vlog showcasing city highlights, and basically you would want to put in some details, not so broad, so that the AI would have something to work on in suggesting content for you. So in here, so upbeat and cinematic with modern background music, light sound effects for transitions, and visuals that feel energetic yet polished. And the target audience right here is also a very important detail. So young adults looking for inspiration and adventure. Now, once you're done, you can click on Get Suggestions. Now, you just want to wait first so that the AI would be able to finish your artboard in here. And it's currently loading as of now, so let's just wait for a bit. Alright, it is now done, and now we have all the suggestions here from AI for our artboard. So we can see here, suggested assets, we have all, we have music only, and we have footage right here. And then we also have sound effects. So you could see all of that right here. So that's basically like the artboard in here. So wherein you could group or basically collect your assets that you would want to use for that specific project that you're currently working on. So for this example, that would be my city travel vlog highlights. So here it is. And yeah, so that you can find it in just one place. Now, if you would want to add your creations here in Artlist into your artboard, you can just go back into, for example, here in AI Toolkit, we have created a video here, like this one right here, for example. So you can just navigate to that video. And then in here, you can click on the three dots and click on Add to Artboard, and then select the artboard that you have created. So in my case, it's this one. And as you can see, it says video added. And then you could also do that to the other things that you have created here, such as your music, image, voiceover, whatever you've created here in Artlist, including the stock catalog in here. You could also include the footages, royalty-free music, something right here. You could click here on the three dots and click on Add to Artboard, just like so. And then that's it. It will now be added. And then once you go back in here into your artboard, you should now be able to see that listed in here. And yeah, that's basically the artboard here in Artlist. Alright, so next thing that we're going to discuss is that we have the Artlist Studio. So click here on Studio at the top menu. In here, click on Go to Your Projects. So here, you'd be able to see all the projects that you're working on here in Artlist Studio. And you can see that here at the bottom. So if you're a beginner, then you shouldn't have anything right here yet if you have a new account. And for now, is that we'll just be doing the example project in here. So they have this for demonstration. I'm going to go and open this so that I can explain how things work in here. And later on, I'll be demonstrating on how you could do this for real. So now I'm going to click here on Open Project. And in here is that we have the three main things in here, three main features. So we have first the composer, and then we have the characters, wherein you can select or browse the characters, and then we also have the location. So you could use these two here in the composer. So I'll be going in depth here later on the characters and locations after we're done here in the composer. So here in the composer, the first thing that you'd want to notice is that we have this timeline in here. So we have this live preview of our footage, and here we have our timeline. So you could navigate through the frames or through the shot right here on which part you would want to navigate. You could also click here on the play button so that you can play that shot that you're currently playing right here, as you can see.
We're just getting started.
So that's the video in here. And then here, notice, is that we have the number of shots. So these are basically your scenes. So you could navigate in here on, I'm just going to click here. And this is where you can navigate to your shots. And each shot would have a different compose right here, or composer. So you can see that the prompt for directing and framing in here. So each one has different ones. So basically you'll be creating each shot through the composer in here. So that's basically it. And then let's now go here into composer, and we'll just go back here into shot 10. And then here we have the settings here first. So this is what we're going to discuss first. So we're going to click here. So here you can now change the AI model that was used. So you can click here and then you can choose on what you would want to use from here. So you have Flux, GPT Image, Nano Banana 2, and many more depending on what you really need. So you can research more on that on the AI models, or you could experiment on which one gets you the best result. So now I'm just going to go for Sea Dream, for example, right there. And then next is that you can go here. So you could actually select the resolution that you would want. So the lowest you can go here is 2K. I'm just going to go for 2K in here. I think it's clear enough. And then we have the aspect ratio you can choose from. You can go for landscape, portrait, or square. And here we have the camera type and camera lens. So this is for advanced users. So if you have a specific camera type of camera lens that you would want to be depicted on the video, this is where you can choose them. So as you can see, we have the Red V Raptor, the Apri Alexa 35 VHS camcorder, and we also have the camera lenses right here. You can choose one right here and it would be reflected on the video as you make your shot. So yeah, this is for advanced users. So if you're a beginner, you probably don't have any idea with this stuff, so I suggest just leaving it out in auto. It still works great when it's in auto. Next is that we have the framing and directing. So the easiest way to explain this would basically be framing would be more about the cinematography of the shot, as you can see right here. So it's giving some exact or specific details right here on what should happen in terms of camera movements, angles, lightings, and more. So basically cinematography. So when we play this, you can see that we have a tight cinematic close-up right here, cinematic close-up, and slight side angle, as you can see, not straight to the camera, and strong cinematic lighting, as you can see on the lighting at the back, and cool moonlight tones, soft warm reflections from distant city lights. So basically it's having this bokeh effect in here, which is about cinematography. And yeah, this is basically it. So in terms of camera details, camera designs, this is where you would want to put the details. Now here in the directing is more about the script. So this is where you would want to put on how should the story proceed, or what actions should the character take. So as you can see, it says here, fixed camera, Mike breathes heavily and says fearlessly, "We're just getting started," turns around and jumps far, far out of the frame. So yeah, it's more about the script in here and the movement of the character, how's the story gonna unfold, and so on. And notice that we also have these things here. So we can add an image right here. So we can click on that, and basically we'll not be able to do that here when we are in the example project, but you can add an image in here if there's a reference image that you'd want to use into the video. And then we have the add character. So you could use this to choose the character that you would want to be incorporated in the video. And you could also mention them right here in the prompt that you are making. So you would want to check that every character that you would want on this video is included right here, so that you could freely mention them right here, and also the location. As you can see here in the prompt, we have mentioned our character, which is Mike, and our location right here, which is the rooftop. So that's basically how you would be able to do this right here. So you want to make sure that you add an image for the character or location that you will be using. Same goes for the directing. It should also be applied in here. And here we have this toggle. So we have the freeform, or you could go for structured. So we'll be explaining more of that later on once we're out here in the example project. And then next is that we have these buttons here at the bottom. So we have the angle. So you could also choose the camera angle in here if you'd want. You could leave it as at auto if you don't have anything specific in mind, but you could also go for something specific if you'd want. So we have low angle, eye level, high angle, overhead, and many more. We also have the shot type. So we could go for macro, extreme close-up, medium, and many more. And then we have the lighting. You could also choose that right here. And then the number of images. So this might be a little bit confusing for those of you who don't know about this. So even though Artlist Studio is about video, the AI starts by generating images. So that's why you can select the number of images right here. It gives you multiple variations to choose from, which you can then animate or use as building blocks for your video later on. So you could go for 1 up to 4 images right here. For this example, I'll be using 2 images. So those are the options for now that I will be explaining here in the composer. I'll be explaining the rest later on when we do a real video. So now let's go here into characters. And this is where you could browse the character library here that is available on Artlist. There are a lot of characters in here that is already really good. These are already optimized. You can see it's in high definition. They are high quality characters. So if you'd want to use them, you could just use them directly on the prompt when you go here into Composer. So now let's mention a character in here. So basically how you want to do this is that you just simply want to type the @ symbol right here. So from here, you can now choose the character. And you can choose between this one right among these characters in here from the library. So you can click on choose from library if you'd want, or you can just select them directly right here. For example, Riley. It will now be added in here, and also right here at the top. As you can see, they are now added as a character. So once you mention a character in here, it will automatically be added here, and same goes for the location. So that's basically that here in characters. So what if you would want to make your own character or use your own character? So you just simply need to go here back on the characters and go into my characters. And in here, if you don't have one yet, then you can just create your own. So how do you create that? Simple. You want to go here into the prompt box at the bottom. So in here, you can now create your prompt, and then you could add a reference image if you have a specific character look already that you have created from an image. So you can also extract the character from there if you'd want to. Then you just want to make sure that it is isolated. The character is the only one in the photo so that the AI could easily recognize the character. And then you can make the prompt in here. So some details that you'd want to add, describe your character's look and personality so that the AI would be able to apply that onto your character's look. And then the number of images to generate in here, you could also indicate it right here. So the more the better, so that you'd have more variations. And we have, that's basically it right here on how you could use your own characters if you'd want here in Artlist Studio, and you have your history if you have generated some characters. And now let's move on into locations. So here, same way as the characters, you could also browse the locations here that was made by Artlist, and then you could click here on view location so that you'd be able to see some more details regarding that location. So we have this shot or this angle, this shot also, and also this shot. So you have 3 shots for this location. So you could also create your own, same way as the characters. You could also use the prompt here to create your own location, and you could go for the reference images, and then you also have this option. So you can go for hard light, blue hour, golden hour, rim light, neon, and so on. So you want to make sure that you also indicate that in the prompt when you're making it. And don't forget that you always have the enhanced prompt in here once you are done filling in the details here of your location manually. All right, so now let's go back. And yeah, you can go here into my locations, and this is where you can see all the locations that you have generated or created here in Artlist. And now let's go here into Composer. You could also mention the locations in here by typing at the @ symbol, and then go here into locations, choose one. You can click on choose from library if you'd want, but for now we're in example project, so we can't exactly do that, but you can select one right here. So I have selected airport gate in here, so that's basically how you'd be able to do this. And yeah, those are the fundamentals that you would need to know here in using the Artlist Studio. So now let's go back into the studio and make a real one. And from here, we're going to click on new project. You can name their project. So let's say tutorial scene or tutorial shots. Click on create project once you're done naming, and then you'll now be prompted in here with an empty project. So here we can go for our shot number 1. So my concept here would be very simple. So this would just be basically just a series of shot of a schoolboy getting late for class and gets scolded by the teacher. So first in shot 1 is that I'm gonna decide the location first. So I'm gonna go here into locations, and I'm gonna go click here and explore and browse the school location right here. But you could also create your a new one right here if you can't find an existing location right here, or maybe you want something unique then, or that is not public, then you could go and create your own in here. But for me, I think this one would be enough. So here it's named high school, so that's all I would want to remember. So I'm going to go here now into the characters and select the character that I would want to use. And for this one, I'm just gonna use a kid character since we're in school. And I'm gonna use, for example, let's see, something more of with age. And I think I'm interested in using this one, Adrian. So I'm gonna use Adrian as my character, and the location would be high school, right? So all right, so now let's go into Composer. Now, here is we're gonna do the settings here first. So I'm gonna go with Dream 5.0. I'm gonna stick with that, and the resolution is 2K. And then aspect ratio, I'm gonna go for a portrait right here. So let's say that I'm gonna post this on TikTok. So I'm gonna go for portrait, and then the camera type and camera lens, I'm just gonna leave that at auto. And in here is that I'm now gonna describe my framing composition. So now I'm gonna say Adrian walks towards the high school, or our location right here, which is high school, towards the high school door using the stairs going down. And I'm gonna say the camera is placed behind Adrian right here, just like that. And now you can add more of the cinematography details right here at the bottom. So you could go for the angle, or you could also just mention it here in the prompt if you'd want to. But in my case, I'll just go here. And then I would want this to be something like this one for the angle. Actually, I'm just gonna leave this at eye level right here. And then the shot type, I'm gonna go for full shot. And the lighting in here, I can go for golden hour, blue hour, natural, and many more. So as for this one right here, I'm just gonna go for auto, and the number of images to be generated, I'm gonna go for 2. And then here you can go for the number of credits on how much it's gonna cost. So this one would be 200 credits. And in here is that actually I would want to enhance my prompt, so let AI structure the prompt in here, and it will now optimize that. So now let's double check if everything is exactly how we want it. So Adrian walks toward the high school location door, descending a worn stairway with steady purposeful movements. The stairs show scuffed edges, textured surfaces, and subtle signs of age, and so on. So I think that those details are fine. And yeah, I think that's all, and I'm satisfied with it. So now what we're gonna do is we can now click here on send, and it will now start processing the image if there's nothing else that you'd want to change in here. So now I'm gonna click here on send. All right, so now here's the result, and I think this one is pretty great. So I have regenerated because the first generation that we have here actually doesn't work really well, and this was the Dream AI model. So AI model matters a lot when generating here. So I switched to Nano Banana Pro, even though it's more expensive, but the quality here is so much better. So I really like this one right here. So I'm gonna proceed with this. And now that we are done with framing, we have found a frame that we like, we can now go here into directing. So now here in the directing is that we want to make sure first that the start frame here is this frame. So I'm going to click on set start frame right there. Now we can go into directing and we'll have no issues, because if we haven't set that, then there will be a notice just like this one. So the frame you generated isn't set as your start frame. So right there, so it's now set as a start frame, and from here in directing. So how you would want this to unfold in a video. So basically, would want to go for at Adrian is walking, or walks towards the door of high school right here, opens it and enters. The camera is fixed right here. And yeah, that's basically it. And now I'm just gonna go and enhance prompt so that AI would be able to structure and add more details. So now we have to review after it is enhanced so that we can make sure that everything is correct. So begins in a subtle, deliberate approach toward the door, with their pace carrying a quiet tension as the air around them remains still. start, middle, end. They close the distance, reach out, and open the door with the measured motion, then step through the doorway and disappear inside. While fixed camera holds its frame and surrounding space shifts only with a faint ripple of shadow and ambient movement. So I think that's fine. Exactly what I want. And then the next thing is that we can now go for the other options here, like the AI model. So we have Kling 3.0, Veo. So here we can preview how much it costs. This one is very expensive. So this is 1700 credits. And this one, Kling 3.0, would just be 600, 2.67, 750, Grok Imagine, Cdance, and many more. So I think for this one, I'm just gonna go for Veo 3.1 fast. So this one would only be 800 credits. And I'm gonna go select 1080p. And this one, I want to make sure that this is in portrait. And then we have the options here, camera type, camera lens, and so on. And in here, we can set the duration and how long is this gonna take. So I imagine that this would just take 6 seconds maybe. I think 6 seconds would be fine. So this would now be increased in terms of credit cost. So this also highly affects the credit cost in here. Take note of that. And then we have the motion. So for this one, I'm just gonna leave this at auto, and then auto voice right here. So this doesn't really include a voice, no dialogue in here. So now I'm just gonna go for I can just go for disabling that would be fine for this case. And the number of videos, I'm just gonna go for 1. So now this is gonna cost 750 credits now with our settings optimized. And now let's see, we can now click on generate or send by clicking here, and we will now be spending 750 credits. Alright, so now here is the result, and I think we have a pretty decent one. So here it is. So our character Adrian is walking towards the door, and the door opens, but we unfortunately ran out of time. This is only 6 seconds as we have set right here, and Adrian wasn't able to fully enter. But still, it's a pretty decent a shot right here. So I'm just gonna keep this as it is, just for demonstration purposes. But in real cases, I think we should have set a higher duration, maybe 8 seconds in here, so that Adrian would have fully gone inside. Well, and now we'll be proceeding into the next shot. So I'm gonna click here on new shot now, and then we will now be starting with a fresh canvas in here. So in here, the framing is that basically I would want a locker shot now. So I'm gonna go for at Adrian walks down the locker. So I think they have a locker room right here, a locker room location. Walks down the locker room, and then with a worried expression on his face. So I would want this to be a close up shot of his face. And then the next thing is that I'm gonna go for the angles in here. So you can go for low, eye level, and many more. So for this one, I'm gonna go for auto. And the shot type in here, I would want this to be a close-up. So I'm gonna go for medium actually. This one would be perfect. And then the lighting, you can set that right here. I'm gonna leave the auto. And number of images, I'm just gonna select this at 2 again. And I'm gonna use Nano Banana Pro now as my model. And here it is. Once it's done, you can click on Enhance Prompt, so that we could now see the optimized version. Walks down, carrying a tense hesitant energy as his posture suggests he is mid-step and alerting to something just out of frame. His face shows clear worry and so on. So I think that's fine. Now I'm gonna click here on send, and let's see on what it would be able to generate. Alright, so now here is the result. So as you can see, I think this one is not what I was hoping for. I would want a more close-up look and focus more on the face. So I would have to change something in here, and also change this location. And I'm gonna go and choose from library. And let's see, I think they have a school hallway here available. And yeah, school lockers. I think I meant to use this. I'm gonna click here on use in project. And basically, I'm gonna remove this right here. So remove locker room. Walks down the school lockers right there. And then also I would want to change the the shot type right here. I would want it to be a close-up right there. And I also would want to indicate that in the prompt, and there is none right here that is being indicated in the prompt, so I'm just gonna go and make one. I'm gonna go for make it a close shot of his face to emphasize the emotion right there. And then I can click here on enhance prompt so that it would now be included, and there it is. So now what I'm gonna do next is generate once again. So this would cost a lot of credits, and that's the thing here in Studio. You will make some mistakes, and sometimes the AI would generate something that you don't really like, even though you think the prompt and every setting that you have is correct. So there would be cases like that, so you would have to be prepared and have a lot of credits in bank so that you would be able to always regenerate and then make it correct, or correct what you have done. So now let's just wait for a bit. Alright, so now I think we have a much better result now, although it's not as close up as I'd want. I think this one is better actually, so this is quite close up, and I'll be using this now as an example. So now we'll be proceeding into directing because I have now found a frame that I really like, and don't forget, click on set start frame. And then now I'm gonna go and direct on how the character is gonna move and how the video would proceed. So basically here, Adrian is walking down on the school lockers. As he walks, he has a worried face and says, "Oh no, I am going to be late again." So something like this. So now this time we have a dialogue, so we would need to turn on the audio in here. And yeah, that's basically it for this one right here. Now we can enhance the prompt, and let's see, with a tense hurried pace, his shoulders tightening as he glances ahead and then down at the ground, and says here, "Oh no, I am going to be late again." He hurries onward with urgency, the scene building momentum around his anxious walk. And in here, we can set this into 6 seconds, so we have some room. And then we have the motion in here. So the camera motion, you can pick one. So I'm gonna go for handheld. I think this would bring the emotions more. And then we have the audio, and I'm gonna enable this now. So auto-generated voice or the character voice right here. So for the character is that we can modify the character voice right here so that we can choose one on what voice we would want it to be applied. So we can choose one from 11 Labs, but you could also go for the saved voice for this character, which I think would be fine as this is already optimized to be suitable for this character. So I'm just going to select character voice. Number of video is 1, and this would cost me 1200 credits, so that would be fine. And now I'm going to click here on generate once we have double checked and everything is correct. So that's it. Alright, here's the results, and now let's play it.
Oh no, I am going to be late again.
And yeah, there it is. I think that's perfect. And now we can proceed to the next shot now. So basically that's how it's gonna go in here in Artlist Studio. You just gotta keep on repeating the same process every time you make a shot until you get all the shots required for your short film or short video, whatever it is that you're trying to make in here. So that's basically it. And then also, you want to click on the play button here at the bottom. So in this way, you would now be playing all the shots consequently. So for example, here I'm going to play this, so it will now start playing at shot 1 until to the latest shot. So I'm going to play it. There it is, our character walking into the school, and proceeds to shot 2.
Oh no, I am going to be late again.
So that's basically how you can preview your video in here so that you can see on how well all your shots comes through as one. And you also have the option here to add a new folder. So now you could click on new folder in here, and basically you could now go for a different group of shots. So here you have two different folders for this current project. So you can have multiple folders with different groups of shots inside a project. So that's basically the thought in here, so that you could also organize shots in here. And yeah, that's how you'd be able to do that, so that you will not have a long series of shot that is not really connected to one another, so that you would have differences right here. So now you can rename this. You can click here on the three dots, click on rename, and then I'm gonna go for school scene. And then maybe for this one right here, I'm gonna go for home scene or house scene. Right there, something like that. And then you can now make your shots. And that's basically how you'd be able to do it here in Artlist Studios. Those are the things that you absolutely must know, so that you'd be able to start doing this effectively. And now once you're done with this and you would want to compile all of them, so basically you can just download the shots right here for each one of them, and then you can bring them up into external editing platforms like Adobe Premiere Pro, and then you can make your edits right there, post edits, like you'd want to add some effects, transitions, text, and so on, because you wouldn't be able to do that in here in Artlist Studio. It would be very difficult to do that in here, so it would be much better if you do it on Adobe Premiere Pro just for post edits. But this is where you'll be generating your footage on Artlist Studio. So that is basically how you'd want to do this. And don't forget to use the stock catalog here in Artlist, so that would also be very useful for you. And don't forget that here in the stock catalog that you have the video templates, lots tools that you could use in integrating this into your editing platforms such as Premiere Pro, so that your editing would go a lot easier. So I highly recommend using this if you have the subscription here in Artlist. And now, speaking of subscriptions, as promised, let's go into the pricing plan so that I can explain each one and you can assess on what you need. So first is that we have AI Suite and stock catalog to choose from in here. So the AI Suite subscription is different from the stock catalog that we have talked about earlier. So in here, we'll be going for AI Suite first. So now you have the monthly or yearly billing cycle. Now, if you would want to save as much as possible, basically you'll be saving 40% off already if you go for the yearly plan. So that's just a base discount. Now, if you also go to the link of this video, use that link or coupon codes in there, then you'd be able to gain even more discount, because they will stack on top of this base discount 40% when you go for yearly billing. But if you go for monthly, that's also fine, but you will get the standard price, so take note of that. So if you go for yearly, as you can see, the price per month drastically decreases. So now let's discuss each plan. First is AI Starter. This plan is designed for individual creators who would want to experiment with AI tools without committing to a large package. You'll get access to around 1650 AI images, 103 AI videos, 3 AI voiceovers, 110 AI music tracks, plus studio access. So these are all just estimation. It could be more. It's perfect for freelancers or solo creators who need a starter toolkit to test ideas and produce content on a smaller scale. And also, you can check the number of credits here that you would want to get, including the plan in here. So you can go for 7,500 credits, 16,500, 40,000, 120,000, depending on how you'd want it. So the bigger amount of credits, the less, the more discount that you would be able to get. So the less price it is. So for example, if you go for 40,000, you'll just be paying 24 right here. And if you'd want to make this even lower or the lowest possible, then you can go for 7,500, but that's just a small difference if you go for 16,500. So I suggest going for 16,500 instead, because it will just be a small price difference and you'll get a lot more credits. And then we have the AI Professional. So this plan is built for small teams or growing creators. It includes up to 5 members and expands your limits to around 18,000 AI images, 1,125 AI videos, 36 AI voiceovers, and 1,200 AI music tracks in estimation. So beyond volume, it unlocks end-to-end AI production, letting you cast characters, build location, frame scenes, and direct shots with consistency across projects. You also get team credit control and priority generation speed. So this plan is ideal for studios or agencies scaling content production with multiple collaborators. And then you could also choose the number of credits that you'd want. So this one is 180,000 credits. So this is a lot. So you could choose the number of that right here. You can you could increase that if you'd want to. And then we have the custom business. So this is tailored for enterprises and large organizations. It includes unlimited team members and everything in AI professional, plus full access to Artlist stock catalog under a business license. So this includes music, stems, sound effects, footage, templates, LUTs, and plugins. It also adds business-grade features like legal indemnification, enterprise-level security and compliance, SSO authentication, curation services, AI creative support, and a dedicated account manager. This plan is built for companies that need scalable, legally protected, and professionally supportive creative production. So, in short, AI Starter is for solo creators, AI Professional for small teams or agencies, and Custom Business would be for enterprises. So by now, you should have an idea on which plan to get. So now, let's go into Stock Catalog, and let me also explain what each one is. So first, we have music and sound effects. So basically, this is the entry point. It gives you access to music tracks, stems, sound effects, and even a Premiere Pro extension. It's best for solo creators or editors who mainly need audio assets without the full catalog. So this one would be the cheapest one. And we have Max. So this plan extends into the full stock catalog like music, stems, sound effects, footage, templates, LUTs, and many more. It also includes the AI toolkit with images, videos, voiceovers, and music, plus studio access and priority generation speed. This plan connects directly to the AI Suite Professional tier, making it ideal for creators who want both stock assets and AI production tools in one package. We also have Max Business. So this would be for companies. It includes a business license covering both of your projects and client work with up to 70 members. You get full stock catalog, the AI toolkit, studio access, and business-grade features like legal indemnification, compliance, team collaboration tools, credit control, and priority support. This plan aligns with the AI Suite Custom Business tier, designed for agencies, production teams needing commercial rights, and enterprise features. And we also have the Custom Business. So this is fully tailored. It includes everything in Max Business, plus custom credits across AI products, SSO authentication, enhanced indemnification, curation services, AI support, a dedicated account manager, and a customized privacy terms. This is for large enterprises that need scalable, legally protected, and personalized creative solutions. So yeah, this is it. And basically, music and sound effects would be for individuals. Max would be for creators, Max Business would be for companies or agencies, and then Custom Business would be for enterprises. All right, so now with that, you now fully understand the pricing plans here in the AI Suite and stock catalog of Artlist. So now you know and you have an idea on what you need and what you should get in here. So once you have decided on what it is, for example, AI Professional, you can click here and get started. And then it will now take you into the checkout page. And in here, you can choose a billing cycle. You can go for annual if you want to save 40%. So I'm going to go click here and then select your monthly AI credit in here. You can select that again in here. So I'll just stick to 40K. And then the payment method, you could include that right here. And then basically you could see the summary on how much you will be paying in here. So now once you are ready, you can click on complete purchase after you have provided your payment method right here. So if you don't have a payment method set yet right here, you can click here on the change button, and then you would be able, and you would have the option here to input your payment information. Once it's done, click on complete purchase. Once the payment has gone through or has now been completed, then you have successfully purchased a subscription here in Artlist, and you are now ready to use Artlist. So first, we have music and sound effects. So basically, this is the entry point. It gives you access to music tracks, stems, sound effects, and even a Premiere Pro extension. It's best for solo creators or editors who mainly need audio assets without the full catalog. So this one would be the cheapest one. And we have Max. So this plan extends into the full stock catalog like music, stems, sound effects, footage, templates, LUTs, and many more. It also includes the AI toolkit with images, videos, voiceovers, and music, plus studio access and priority generation speed. This plan connects directly to the AI Suite Professional tier, making it ideal for creators who want both stock assets and AI production tools in one package. We also have Max Business. So this would be for companies. It includes a business license covering both of your projects and client work with up to 70 members. You get full stock catalog, the AI toolkit, studio access, and business grade features like legal indemnification, compliance, team collaboration tools, credit control, and priority support. This plan aligns with the AI Suite Custom Business tier, designed for agencies, production teams needing commercial rights, and enterprise features. And we also have the Custom Business. So this is fully tailored. It includes everything in Max Business, plus custom credits across AI products, SSO authentication, enhanced indemnification, curation services, AI support, a dedicated account manager, and a customized privacy terms. This is for large enterprises that need scalable, legally protected, and personalized creative solutions. So yeah, this is it. And basically, music and sound effects would be for individuals. Max would be for creators, Max Business would be for companies or agencies, and then Custom Business would be for enterprises. All right, so now with that, you now fully understand the pricing plans here in the AI Suite and stock catalog of Artlist. So now you know and you have an idea on what you need and what you should get in here. So once you have decided on what it is, for example, AI Professional, you can click here and get started. And then it will now take you into the checkout page. And in here, you can choose a billing cycle. You can go for annual if you want to save 40%. So I'm going to go click here and then select your monthly AI credit in here. You can select that again in here. So I'll just stick to 40K. And in the payment method, you could include that right here. And then basically you could see the summary on how much you will be paying in here. So now once you are ready, you can click on complete purchase after you have provided your payment method right here. So if you don't have a payment method set yet right here, you can click here on the change button, and then you would be able, and you would have the option here to input your payment information. Once it's done, click on complete purchase. Once the payment has gone through or has now been completed, then you have successfully purchased a subscription here in Artlist, and you are now ready to use Artlist. So yeah, this is basically it for the Artlist video. I have discussed everything that you should know so you can start using Artlist effectively. So don't forget that we have the link in the description if you'd want to use that. It's an affiliate link, so you'll be able to support this channel if you use that. Only if you want to use it though. And you'll also get some benefits for using that link, like exclusive discounts. So yeah, that is basically it for this video. Thank you for watching, and see you on the next one.